Hey folks, it's March 21st. My name's James. I'm the president of the Edmonton Local of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers. It's a beautiful day out here today, it really is. It's quite nice. Let's have a chat. So my intention was to do a positive versus negative situation, but I can't really think of much in the way of positive of closing 100 post offices. So Appendix I used to have the protections of the post office. It's basically being reduced from 493 to 393. Can't think of much of a positive to that, but I can think of a whole bunch of negatives that maybe people haven't considered. So back when this originally came up, I ended up asking the negotiators which post office will be closed, and the answer I got was, I don't know. So I suspect that the number of post offices is the important part, but where it is going to be left up to the corporation. So I fully suspect that in Edmonton, all of the post offices will be closed, probably St. Albert, Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, maybe Fort Saskatchewan. Not entirely sure. Basically any place that there's a Shoppers Drug Mart or a London Drugs or something like that, I'm sure they just want to close the post office. But we don't know what that is for sure. But, you know, looking at the numbers across the country, I'd say it's probably 500 jobs. Maybe it's 40 or 50 jobs in the city, surrounding area, maybe a few more. But what happens to those people? So fortunately for you, you're in a union, and we fought for employment security many, many years ago. So if you are a regular employee, i.e. a full-time or part-time employee for the Canada Post Corporation, when we sign this contract, you have job security. If you are a temporary employee, you need to have had 5 years of service in order to maintain the job security provisions. But like all things, there's always caveats. So it's based off of the idea that as long as you agree to be displaced to another position within 40 kilometers from where you work. So what's a position? Well, a position is basically your classification. If you're a PO4, which includes mostly the inside workers, so retail, plant workers, some workers in depots, that sort of thing. An assignment is a subcategory, so assignment would be retail or RVU or packets or something like that. So your position is technically secure. But when this happens, it's going to happen fast. They're only required to give us 10 days notice, of which you have basically 5 days notice to make a selection of a position that's available. But what positions are going to be available? Because right now in the plant, they've been deleting every position that's possible to be available. So that doesn't mean you're not going to have a job, it just means it's going to get weird. So the intention would be to offer you positions within your own classification, but alternatively they can offer you positions in other groups. It's unlikely there'll be any positions available for you in group 3 and 4, but there could be in group 2, and that's letter carrying, right? MSC's letter carrying. Well, I'll get into that in a little bit. If for some reason you're unsuccessful in getting an assignment, you will be held in positions within your own group. But this will be weird because you'll displace the lowest seniority member, and then that will trigger a section bid. But if that member moves to another section or needs to be supported in another section because they themselves become surplus, that will trigger another section bid. So this is going to become a bit of a mess. And currently it's not clear to me whether they have to offer you as the same value of position, if it's a full-time or a part-time position. So I don't know what that is. We'll have to work that out in the near future if we select this contract. Ultimately, you could select to be laid off, but you'd have recall rights and a supplementary income benefit. I'm not sure how that works. Never had to operate it, and I'm not sure of the details of it. But basically, your recall rights are based off of your years of service, so how long you would have the right to recall. If you refuse an assignment that they offer you, you would then be removed from that list. So, seems a little bit tight. But I guess if you're out in the private world without a union, you just get laid off anyway. So there's a lot of options here for you. It's actually pretty beneficial. So closing post offices will have a number of effects. Like we just saw what'll happen in group 1 if we have to move 50 or more people into positions. I'm also concerned about what's going to happen with MSCs. Those are the people who do the primary delivery of materials to offices and they do pickups on the weekend, well, their routes are going to be decreased. Letter carriers frequently deliver to and pick up from RPOs as well. Pardon me, CROs, not RPOs. Crown retail outlets. And that's going to affect their route values. And it shouldn't go without any surprise that this will significantly affect the temps that are already in the system who are trying to get full-time jobs at the plant. I don't think you're going to get any jobs. And this brings us to the part-time unstructured work and the weekend parcel delivery. Because, as I said earlier, they can offer these positions that are in Group 2 to the displaced Group 1 employees. And honestly, if you're going to have a choice between a job and no job, I mean, you'll probably take the job. But that means that the believed hiring of temps into these positions might actually be a fiction. I don't think there's going to be enough positions. And if there is, there might be a few, but we're not going to see a massive increase of 50 or 70 temps moving into part-time positions in the post office, because we're going to have to figure out what to do with all these displaced members. And ultimately, this really attacks and pretty much starts to cripple our ideas about expansion of services. For the last, 15 years, maybe more, we've been pushing them for an expansion of services, including postal banking, community centers, groceries, high-speed internet, and cell phone service out of our offices. This can have a significant impact on any chance of that happening. Like, management is not here to make this a successful company. I mean, Doug Ettinger has been hired as the CEO of several other companies, which he basically parted out. He sold for scrap. Whether that was the intention or not, that seems to be the market norm these days, is to take a massive business, basically run it into the ground and sell off its parts. And I feel that that's kind of where Doug Ettinger is going. So by removing a fifth of the post offices that are protected under the collective agreement, we're gonna lose a fifth of the possibilities, a fifth of the chances of us creating a better post office through services in the future. And like I said, my intention was to talk about the positives and the negatives, but I don't see any positives with this part of the contract and the way it affects other parts of the contract. So it's a bit tough. If you want more information on employment security, that the union fought for and won many years ago, check out Article 53 in the Urban Collective Agreement, all right? Keep your chin up, we'll get through this. Have a great day.